Whenever I'm driving, it's very dangerous because I will look at every business and be like, that was a bad idea.
You don't have to be wildly interesting. You just have to leverage who you are. And not all of you. Just leverage little bits of who you are. And she's like, well, that's not interesting. And I'm like, doesn't that sound a lot like Chip and Joanna Gaines?
I was just going to say that.
Yes. How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are two agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market, all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go. Good morning, macaroni marketing girls.
I was waiting to see what's the magic word today. Good morning, marketing girls. Welcome to another episode. I'm loving recording this summer. It's been fun.
I have a confession. I just took my first sip of coffee 4 minutes ago. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm actually so excited about this topic that I think it will exceed the coffee intake.
There you go.
I might not know what I'm saying, but
that's good. I had some iced coffee this morning, and then I was like, I'll go get a quick little refill before we go. And I realized I only had this much left, which is like an inch. I was like, no. And so I sat here ordering more on Instacart before we hit record.
Oh, no.
So it'll be a good day. This is a good topic.
Yeah, I drink Nespresso pods, and I order, they get delivered, and they deliver so fast. It's through this VEHO delivery. It's almost like, I don't know what's going on with them. They're like a Prime. They deliver in 24 hours. Thrive Market uses them. Anyways, when I used to run out, it would take 7 days to get my coffee. And if I was not paying attention, I'd be like, oh my gosh, why don't they sell this at the store? Why isn't there a better system for this? But now it's 24 hours. So now I'm like, you can do a recurring order, but it never works. So I'm like, I'm not relying on that. I just go in and order. So always stocked up. And if you run out, you have 24 hours of misery. But anyways,
okay. Before you keep listening to this episode, make sure you're stocked up on your coffee.
Yes. Today's PSA.
There's your warning.
Okay. So today we're talking about something a little bit, not different, but it's going to be more of a power-packed episode of very tangible things that you're going to leave today. And I want you to leave the episode and do at least one of them. Just pick one thing that you're going to do right when the episode is over. Do it before 5 p.m. as you're listening to this today. Before 5 p.m. Okay. So we are talking about what the agents becoming the go-to in their market are doing on Instagram. What 5 things are they doing consistently? And we're going to walk you through them. And this is based on our actual members at Modern Agent Social Club. And it's also based on all the research that we do every single day from what we can see. Because while I can't see from looking at someone's Instagram, oh, she's getting 5 leads a month, we can pretty much see it. So we are taking those two things combined to compile together, what are the 5 things that they are doing that most people aren't? And most people, to be honest, they just aren't willing to. So if you've ever been looking for a competitive edge, I just want, there's a lot of agents in my market who are so good, and this one gets all these listings, and this one has their billboard, and this one has this. This is your competitive edge.
Oh, yeah.
I can guarantee that if you will follow through with this and you actually do the work, you will be one of the agents we look at and say, they're definitely getting several leads from Instagram per month.
Yes, for sure. So what would you say the first thing would be?
So the first thing is knowing who you're talking to and being really dialed in with the words you're actually using in your content. And this is something most people aren't doing. Most people are very afraid that they're going to repel. We talk about this a lot, so I won't spend a lot of time on that subject. But the ones who are really dialed in are attracting people like crazy. And they're not worried about the people who might live 51 miles away who will not tell their friend about them or who won't call when they're selling. They're so dialed in and confident in their messaging. And I have some examples. Do you want to talk about this for a second? Well, I'm going to pull up my example.
Yes. So first of all, I want people to understand when we say ideal client, that can mean first time home buyers looking in this area, or that can mean, move up buyers or whatever. But I want you to think even more than that. Who do you enjoy working with? Who do you like working with? Who have been some of your favorite clients? Rory Vaden is a personal brand strategist, and he is often quoted saying, "You are best positioned to serve the person that you once were." So think about who you were, what you did. I think that's why a lot of agents, when they start with first-time home buyers, because they're usually at that point where like, oh, I'm going to be buying my first house, or I just bought my first house, so this was my experience and whatever. So that being said, you have to remember that just because you're talking to a specific type of person doesn't mean that other people won't ever reach out. It just means that your content will feel less random. People will be able to say, oh, you should follow her because she she can fill in the blank easily, instead of just like, oh, she's an agent. They're going to say, oh, she helps these people, or she always is talking about this too, or you would like her, you would have a lot in common. You just give people a direction and you give people something to say about you. You kind of take control of that narrative.
Okay, so one of the examples I was going to use is Homes by Kiera. And her whole thing, and you will know from scrolling just for a little bit, her whole angle is she calls where she lives her cutie beach town, but it's St. Augustine, Florida. And she never veers from that. She's never like, or if I want to go to the town next to this, or like it is so crystal clear. This is just one example of someone that I love who is really consistent in their content. So even she'll show like houses in her area or spend the morning with me living in St. Augustine, Florida, a couple blocks from the beach and under 600,000. And it's like literally tagged St. Augustine. She has a repeated series. So like this is the part that I love that also talks to her ideal client. She probably wants to sell houses in a beach town. Like that's her vibe, right? That's who she's talking to. I think she could get a little bit more specific, to be honest, but I love if you see her whole account, the vibe, like her color direction, the style of her content, the words she's using, really good. I think where she could even tweak it even more is maybe like speaking more directly to a personality type. I think that part might be missing, but it's really good. So I love her repeated series, which is Weekend in My Cutie Little Beach Town. And
I
then
love
she
that so
shouts out
much.
like different places that she loves and things from her own life, like where she's getting drinks. You do get a good feel for her personality based on scrolling. Like she clearly loves to like a certain like house style, a certain outfit style, like the things she does on the weekend when she shares her cute little beach town recaps. Like it's all very cohesive. And I think that's really good. But the one thing I can't tell immediately is if I got coffee with her, what would we talk about besides beach homes? So that's her missing piece. I wasn't even planning on doing this, but as I'm looking, her account popped in my head as an example. And then as I'm looking, I'm like, wait a second, she's missing a little bit of this some more.
Isn't that what always
So
happens though? When you
yes.
look at anyone's account, it's always like, oh, this is so good. Oh, wait, they aren't doing this.
Yeah. But she's doing
Yeah.
great. Like
Yes,
it's really,
so
really good.
good. So
And
good.
we have an episode about our content some more. I think it's episode 72, and I will link it in the show notes if you're like, what are you talking about the content some more? So
That's really
you can
good.
find it in the show notes.
Well, that kind of leads us to our next one, which is they are local and they bring it to social, which is exactly what she's doing. And of course, it feels a lot easier to do when you are in a cute little beach town, right? But what about for all the girls who are in like middle of nowhere USA who maybe have a Dollar General and that's it, right? There's still so much you can do. There's so much you
Oh
can
my
do.
gosh. Romanticize everything. I just saw this account and she was like, how long will it take me to finish my book? And she like documented this whole thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I had time to do that. But it was very cute. But her house was not this like amazing Instagram, Pinterest house. Like she had like old oak cabinets, but she totally romanticized her whole reel. She was like pouring her little beverage, stirring it with a straw, sitting on her couch, had her book out, like changed positions a few times. Her dog jumped in. Like it's not about having the most aesthetically pleasing fill in the blank.
Right.
It's about how you romanticize whatever that thing is. So even if your town is like, okay, Dollar General, cool. Maybe you go a little bit outside of your town when
Yep.
you want to have fun. Like I always circle back to ask yourself, what am I actually doing? How am I actually spending my time? And if you're sitting in your house, you're like, well, I don't really leave. I just, water my plants and sip my coffee. I love that vibe. Please bring that online too. But also try to force yourself to do just one thing per week. It could be hiking on a trail. It could be picking up takeout on the way home. It could be picking up flowers. My friend just hosted book club last week and she had all of these really cute wildflowers in vases, like in the kitchen, on the table, and the bathroom counter. And I was like, where did you get these flowers from? And she's like,
Right?
there's a cute little stand down the road. It's a mother and daughter, and they just like sell them in their
I love
driveway. And
that.
I'm like, how do you find the most perfect things? Like, if she used Instagram the way we use Instagram, she should share that on Instagram, right? So those are the types of things we mean when we say local. It can literally be anything that is happening in your town and that you are physically doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so much of that comes with just paying attention to these like little details. Yesterday, my husband and I went on a Jeep ride, and it's all beautiful. You're in the middle of the country and you're just like flying around. But of course, I always think, gosh, I have to put my hair in this like really tight wrap and keep it all pinned back so it's not flying everywhere. So I just look terrible. So it's not something that I'm like, oh, I want to take a bunch of pictures. But we stopped at this little ice cream place and it was like, oh, wait a minute. If I take a picture right here and have the sky mostly here, but then have a little bit, you can see a little bit of the Jeep, like that looks really cool. If you would have just seen us there, you would have thought like, oh, they just quit cleaning their house for a little bit and went on a quick little ride. But the actual picture looked more like, ooh, an aesthetic afternoon date day. You know what I mean? So much of it is just paying attention to those details. But I totally agree. There's so many little things that you do on a daily basis. And if you don't, if that's not been a priority for you, do it. And not only will your content look better, but you'll also have a lot more fun in life. So like make it a priority, please.
Do you know what else is so fun about being local is just knowing the other business owners. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know so many business owners when I go out to eat, when we go get smoothies, when we go to the farm market, like the coffee shop, they all know our name. They all know, like, and it's from my Instagram because I'm there. I'm very local. But also, I said to Mark yesterday, we were getting smoothies. Henry was playing in the little sand pit at the farm market. And I said, I think, the owner of the smoothie place walked down. She's like, Chelsea, Mark had ordered a breakfast sandwich. Your sandwich is ready. I'll bring it out here. I didn't know you were out here. And I was like, oh no, we'll come get it. Like, but I told Mark, it feels so good to be known by the local business owners. Like, obviously there's nothing in it for me now. I have an online business. I'm not selling real estate, but I'm like, if I was selling real estate still, I am 1000% confident I would have the insane business, like an insane
Oh,
business.
yeah.
And I just know that because of how local I am, how personal I am, how connected I am, how social online I am, like all the different pieces work together. So when we say that, it's sometimes I feel like to people feels like a chore or like I can't possibly have time to go out. I have baseball games and this and that. I'm like, the baseball game is a local
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
The Jeep ride is a local, like you have to just dig a little bit deeper and you will start to find like this is actually super enjoyable. Because if you are not having fun with your marketing, you're not doing it right.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree, which honestly leads us to number 3.
Ooh,
Uh,
yay, I love when that happens.
I know.
Segue.
Right?
Perfect segue.
Well, speaking of like the art of noticing, right? Your photos and your B-roll content, they can be so powerful. Now, it takes practice to get good at this, right? It takes practice to perfect your shot or to like pay attention to the lighting and all of those things, but start somewhere, right? But if you are incorporating your photos and your B-roll into your content, not only that, but looking to your own content for inspiration instead of Instagram for inspiration, your content is going to be so much more powerful and it's going to make people like feel something and then they want to stick around for it.
Okay, photos and B-roll. I think it is hard. It is, but no, it's only hard if we tell ourselves it's hard. I'm changing my thought. It's not hard. What's harder to me is not knowing when I'm going to get paid next. What's harder to me is not having people reach out on Instagram to buy and sell or tell their friend about me or say like, hey, I told my friend to call you because I'm not using social media because I'm avoiding the thing that feels in quotations hard. It's an adjustment, it's a skill, right? But as you start getting more local, as you start thinking, okay, I know who I'm talking to, I know the things I want to share, the neighborhoods I want to highlight, you start to get all of these things, it becomes really fun to then document those things and have the pictures and the videos to support, like, this is the brand I'm building, this is the agent I am, this is what I stand for, this is who I help, this is where I live, these are the things I like. Like, that's how you draw people in to you as an agent specifically. And it's no longer like you're just another number on the roster of a million agents on a list. You are the only one that they can think of. And that only will happen if you have your own photos and your own B-roll. It can't be stock. It can't be like hiding behind the screen. I remember for a while, Instagram, there was some creators who said, like, you can grow XYZ amount of money and have a faceless account. And I was like, this is going to last for 2 weeks. And I kind of forgot about it. But the other day I saw someone and it said, so, like, where's all those faceless creators?
Right.
Like a post. The point is maybe there was a time when you could really be removed, but in the day of right now, more than anything, with AI, with all the things, like, people need to see you. They need to know who is actually behind the account, or you feel like that restaurant account that you follow just to be nice that posts like stock photos of meals every day. Like, no one actually wants to follow you. And if they don't want to follow you and they're not actually engaging with the content, they're not going to think of you when they think of real estate. And the whole thing is pointless, right? So
Right.
having photos and B-roll of yourself comes back to the art of noticing. Like, your description of driving in the Jeep and noticing the sunlight, and this would be like a cool picture. Like, those types of things. Now, you don't always need a Jeep ride in the sunset. You don't always need a cute event. You don't always need a cutie little beach town, although I would die to be a realtor in a cutie little beach town. But what you do need is to notice things. Like, notice, like, oh, the sun is coming in and here's my coffee cup. I'm going to take a picture real quick.
Yeah.
Or the front seat of your car with your stuff for the day. Taking a mirror selfie before you walk out the door of your and like in your outfit. Like, these can really tie into the things you naturally like to do anyways too. Like, how do you find yourself spending your morning or your weekend? Like, lean into those things and start capturing little moments. Along the way, you'll learn ways to take better photos. You'll learn ways to take better videos. It's not about being a professional photographer or videographer. It's just about, like, sharing little snippets of your life into your content.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned that about like stock photos and stuff, which is so true. But also, Instagram is not the place to only share posed photos where you are smiling at the camera too. And this is tricky because I think our natural inclination, especially as like millennials and Gen Z, it's like, oh, we're taking a picture, smile, or like the group gets together and the girls in the front crouch down. Like, it's a whole thing, right? But what's really working now, especially on Instagram, are like the more candid, behind the scenes, they seemingly unfiltered, but a lot of thought goes into it, type of photos. And so challenge yourself to kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit. This is exactly why in our membership, we give our members 9 photos. That's it. 9 photos every month that we say recreate these. And sometimes they're just a little bit more unique angle or like a different like spin on things. But we tell them, set aside 1 hour this month. And let me just say, 1 hour, that's 2 minutes a day. Okay. We're asking you to spend a little bit of time to set this aside, get some of these photos done and B-roll, because we know not only will it help your content look more like you, but it's going to make content creation so much easier. Like, talk about like saving time and like not having to think about things. You know, if you're scrolling late at night on a Thursday night and you see this really cute post and you're like, ooh, I want to do that. You don't have to think like, okay, tomorrow morning after I get up, before I go to this meeting, I'm going to take this B-roll clip and I'm going to do, like, you just have it. You can literally make it in 2 minutes and you can be done with it. But only because you've taken the time to like make this a priority in your life. So the photos, the B-roll, all of that, it's something that doesn't feel like a lead gen thing, but it does get the attention of future clients on Instagram. So I think it's a really important and vital way to spend your time.
If you paired a strategy of like, okay, use this lead gen prompt every week in your stories, like we give you at Modern Agent, and you tried to pair that without your own photos and B-roll, the conversion rate would be a lot less than if you had photos and B-roll of yourself that someone was seeing consistently. And here's a little secret hack. You can use the same photo and the same B-roll over and over and over, almost to the point of like, it's better when you do because it becomes so recognizable. Now, we do give our members 9 per month to go by, because even if you add in like a fresh one here and there, it's really fun. But eventually you'll start to notice patterns that they all kind of have similarities through them because they're using your own life, your own brand, which actually brings us to number 4. We might as well slide right into this. Agents that document and share behind the scenes of their real estate business so that people trust them professionally are the ones getting the most business from Instagram. So
Oh yeah.
this goes right in hand with the photos and the B-roll. So like if you're thinking, what on earth do I take photos and B-roll of? Like, okay, my cute coffee cup in my front seat. Like what else? What are the things you're doing in your business? I want you to almost think about every single part of your buyer experience and every single part of your seller experience. If you were to take a photo of one of those things, what would that look like? So
Yeah.
it could be as simple as a picture of your laptop open to a buyer guide that you share with your new buyers. It could be a Zoom call where you're waiting for your buyers to hop on. Maybe it's the coffee shop you meet most of your clients at or your office. Those photos that you start to take every time they happen, that goes into your on-brand album. That goes into content that you can use to showcase what it's like to work with me. Have a cute beverage in there. Have your
Yep.
be wearing a color that you love to wear. Like those little tiny touches stand out and they make your content feel really cohesive.
We talk about personal branding all the time, but maybe that sounds complicated. But what if I told you you could have a personal brand by Friday?
We're giving you a simple week-long plan with clear action steps to follow Monday through Friday, so by the end of the week, you have everything you need to start standing out in your market.
Click the link in the show notes to grab your personal brand by Friday guide so you can get started today.
What else would you say about documenting your business?
Yeah, definitely paying attention to the little things, but also this is your opportunity to kind of have a signature thing. Have like that one thing, and maybe you already do this or maybe you haven't thought about it yet, but if you have that one thing that you're like, oh, this is what I do for my clients. A really good example of this is Emma Nies, Niess. She does such a good job with her content, but a couple things that she does that I really like that I think is worth paying attention to. First of all, she shared a reel not too long ago. She loves like projects. She's always like flipping furniture or like thrifting and like redoing some things. But she helps her clients with this. So she will have like a buyer, and instead of just saying like, oh, do these things to your house to get it ready, she'll come over for the day. She'll help them paint. She'll do all those things. Now, of course, the backlash is realtors shouldn't be doing this and you should be spending your time, whatever. And that's their job, whatever. So she shared a part 2 of one of these reels that said like, okay, while you're saying that, I actually got 5 leads from that one reel because people were like, oh my gosh, can you help me too? And they were all people just like them who I actually love working with. And I would rather, like, I love spending my time this way. And so it was just like oh yeah, like flip it on the head and like just do it your way and then make it work for you, right? She also shares she loves to like paint, and so she would share like, oh, I make like a custom painting for every one of my buyers for their new house or whatever. So like just those little behind the scene processes that she's not sharing like, this is how many closings I have. I don't even know if she shares when she has closings, but she just shares what she's doing for her clients. And it makes me like, oh my gosh, if I was moving to Nashville, I would call her in a heartbeat, you know?
The other day, it made me think like, what if a dentist office shared in their feed, like, this is how many teeth we've cleaned this year. And I don't think that dentists tend to be like the most savvy social media people, but or they maybe don't use it the way that we teach anyways. But that, like, would you want to look at that? Like the answer is
Right.
probably no. I know agents like talking about how many houses they sell because it gives them credibility. So if you want to weave that in there as a credibility statement, like, I've sold this many houses in Lake Country, I am in the top blank percent. Go ahead and build it into like your bio credibility, but don't just have standalone posts that show that. They're very like self-serving and they're not for anyone else. So like asking the question, what's in it for them when you're thinking about, okay, I want to post more about my business because I want people to know I sell real estate and like what a good agent I am. And like, because chances are you are a really good agent, but people don't even know because how would they know? So then our brain thinks, okay, let's just share how many houses I've sold and that will prove it. But there's such a more powerful way to bring people behind the scenes and let them actually get a glimpse of that themselves. So I'm going back to the dentist example. There was a dentist that I passed the other day called the Dental Lounge. And first of all, whenever I'm driving, it's very dangerous because I will look at every business and be like, that was a bad idea. They could be doing like,
I've been on the phone with you when you've been driving, and oftentimes you're like, shoot, I missed my drive. Shoot.
yeah, my turn. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the problem with the dental lounge is, and this goes back to number one about dialed in messaging. I'm just kidding. But they spelt dental without the A. So it was DENTL. And I'm like, oh my gosh. No, like clear over creative, right? Like you gotta be clear. So I looked them up because I was telling my husband, I'm like, I'm just so irritated that this dentist took the A out and like they're like just hurting themselves by doing this in a search format, whatever. Like think of Instagram, not that you're searching for dentists on Instagram, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
people do this all the time. They try to get too creative or they try to serve everyone or they try to do this or that or focus on this thing instead of just like showing what it's really like to work with you. And that's the whole point. But like I looked up their business and it's like a spa-like dentist experience and they have like heated neck wraps and they have spa music and lavender. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I'm friends with my dentist and I'm like, I might have to leave Catherine. I'm just kidding. I'm not. But it sounded so cool. It was actually like 45 minutes from our house. But I was just like, they've got to put the A in there and just be really clear in their tagline. So I'm like analyzing this, but I'm like, so do
And
you
it should be
as
the
an
dental
agent.
spa, not the dental lounge.
Spa.
The dental spa.
Yes.
Yes.
Spa and put the dang A back in.
Right.
So documenting. So like this would be the example of they would post, look how many teeth we've cleaned this year instead of showing the experience of the heated neck wrap and the spa music and the lavender oil. Like if they would showcase their experience, people would be gravitating towards them like crazy, right? But if they would lead with, here's all the teeth we clean, people would never know that they had this spa-like experience. And the same thing is true for you as an agent. No one would know that you have like the best systems or you're so good at marketing their listing or you're so good at writing listing descriptions and like pointing out the like most lifestyle amazing like buyers lining up features of the house. Like no one would know those things if we lead with just our credibility and our stats and our look at me. Or maybe you're on the opposite end of this and you're like, but I don't even sell that many houses. Like, what am I going to show? Oh my gosh, friend, you have so much opportunity to show things. You have opportunity to set up exactly what you want your business to look like. And as you're doing that, start documenting it. I mean, like, where do you want to meet your sellers? Where do you want to meet your buyers? Go to those places or pop open your Zoom and start just showing people what it's like. A part of your experience is also your personality. Like, I know I would want an agent who is a little bit more like warm and kind of takes their time and listens. I wouldn't do well with the agent who's like super like systems, like, let's get in and out. Come on, like blah, blah, blah. Like, got somewhere to be. Like, there are both of those categories as well as a million in between. Like, so who are you as an agent? And when you show that, you bring the right people through that. Then when you are in person and you're sitting down, you're having a conversation, they already decided that they trust you before you say, hey, let's sign this listing contract. They already know you're the agent they want to tell them, here's our pricing strategy for your house, versus like the convincing or the, okay, I'll cut my commission if you choose me. Like, we don't need to do those things when we are showcasing what it's like to work with us and people gravitate to you. And it does happen. One of our members just posted this in our Facebook group. She said, this spring and summer, the amount of buyers and sellers who have reached out over Instagram actually filled out my new client intake form in my bio. You guys, this has always been a dream and never thought anyone would actually do it. And then fill out my buyer or seller intake form and schedule a summer strategy session over Calendly has been wonderfully overwhelming. It's almost like the systems and consistency actually works, and with a winky emoji. I cannot begin to tell you how amazing this shift has been in my business, but also how this wouldn't have happened without the support, systems, and consistently great content Modern Agent pushes out to give people permission to actually do these things. Thank you as always, Chelsea and Kayla and the Mask team, for giving us the tools and encouragement to plug in. It pays off.
Aw, I love that.
So that is the result of when you're doing these things. That is a result of actually not being afraid to have yourself be in the feed and to lead with who you are and to lead with what it's like to work with you and to speak to your ideal client. I know we touched on that really briefly, but I'll share Emma's little angle really quickly about her ideal client. So she is a mom of 3 boys and she does a lot of like local parks and like that's one of her main things. And she has this like local spot she always gets her like caffeinated beverage from. She is heavily consistently sharing those things along with just like being an agent in Ankeny. Like she's always sharing like the town Ankeny is like her name that she uses a lot in her content. So she's very specific in like attracting other moms. Not that she's saying, I only work with moms. She's just saying like, hey, I'm a local mom. I'm a realtor. Here's where we hang out. Here's what we do. Here's what it's like when you're working with me. And people now are just gravitating to her.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's get into number 5 because this kind of
that leads perfect.
This pulls everything together. We almost started with this one and we decided to leave it for the end because it shouldn't come as much of a surprise now. Do you want to reveal number 5?
They're infusing their personality into their content, which is exactly where this all leads to. It's almost hard not to even bring that up every step of the way because even you're talking to your ideal client, guess what? Talk to people that are like you. Talk to people that have been where you've been. Local, where do you go? What do you like to do? You're like all of the things, it all ties back to you. And let me just tell you, you can sit here and you can say, I'm too boring, or I'm not interesting enough, or I just don't feel like I do whatever. But the truth is, if you don't figure this part out, you will never stand out in your market because every other agent in your market has the same stats, access to the same listings, the same MLS, the same data, the same lenders, the same programs, the same, all the things. So if you aren't leaning into your personality and the things about you that make you different, and it doesn't have to be wild, doesn't have to be crazy, okay? That's where so much can happen. And a really easy example of this, I was actually joking about this with my mom years ago when I first started working here because she's a real estate agent too. And she's one of those that's done it for 30 years. She's got so many clients. She doesn't even market herself hardly at all. And she's fine, right? But she has said before, like, I just don't know if I could do that. I don't know that I'm like interesting enough. And I told her, I said, well, I'm like, you and dad bought an RV. You travel, you flip homes, you love to like restore, old homes and bring it back to like, you do all of those things. And she's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, you go to McDonald's in the morning for your Diet Coke and you have a little like date, like you talk all throughout the day. And she's like, well, that's not interesting. And I'm like, doesn't that sound a lot like Chip and Joanna Gaines?
I was just going to say that.
Yes. I'm like, they took something. And of course, yes, HGTV, poured all this money into it and made their remodels and stuff so much more magnificent. But the truth is they lead a relatively normal life, maybe other than the RV part, but even that, like, it's not like people don't own RVs, right? And they do normal things, but it's interesting. And even the fact that they're able to like go to Menards and out for lunch on like a Wednesday afternoon, like it's just normal. That's not most people's life. Like that is interesting. And that's a lot like that's our lives, right? Like that's real estate. So you don't have to be wildly interesting. You just have to like leverage who you are and not all of you, just leverage little bits of who you are, tie it into your content, and you're going to stand out in people's minds and you're going to become so much more memorable.
Leverage little bits of who you are and bring it online. So I feel like this can be really hard, especially if you are creative, because you always think of like, but what about this? But what about that? And I've heard this a million times, but I recently heard Macy McNeely say this again. She said, boring makes billions. And I'm like, yes, you're so right. Boring makes billions. Not meaning like, oh, be really boring. I mean, I don't even know how because you could come up with any person's description and make it entertaining, in my opinion. Even I have an uncle and he never was married. He lives alone, obviously. He is like in like a more like techie field. I could come up with this for him. Like you could say like, oh, he lives kind of a boring life. He is obsessed with Star Wars. He watches he's obsessed with movies and TV. He has a really cool like I could go on and on. He loves the Colts, like it's my dad's brother. Like he has so many things still that I could pull that are relatable. These are the things that help you connect with people personally.
Yeah.
And then when we do number 4, where we document behind the scenes of your real estate business, that's where you're building trust professionally. And the meeting of those two is where you're able to generate leads the modern way.
Yeah.
So we teach this at Modern Agent Social Club. And if this feels like I don't know how to come up with my things, we do have several episodes about this. But this is our bread and butter at Modern Agent, is getting you to hone in on what are the things for you and how are you going to bring them to life on repeat. So back to the boring makes billions. We want you to pick just a handful of things that you talk about repeatedly. It doesn't mean you can never veer and share like your family vacation, but it just means that you're going to intentionally bring similar topics to life on social media so that they start to stick in people's brains. So thinking of like your parents, like if your mom did the Diet Coke from McDonald's in the morning, like that's a really easy one, right? easy to do. She's doing it she's doing it frequently enough that you can document it and it will start to stick. The houses that they're flipping, if they did that every single time, that'd be so entertaining to watch I mean, like, my gosh, start a podcast. What are your parents' names? Tell the people.
It's Mana and Marlon Steery. And you know what's
Oh my
really
God, those are the best
I
names
know,
ever for a
Eminem.
show.
And just for saying so, they think their life's not interesting. They just bought a house that they are renovating right now that they're going to turn into a rental house. And after they bought it, they realized that someone got murdered in the house. And so it's been like this whole thing, like, well, what should we do to the house, or what should we call it, and how should we mark? It's been like, I mean, it's
Oh
really
my
sad,
God.
but it's like, talk about a little bit entertaining, right? That's not boring. That is not boring.
Crime junkies.
Yes, exactly.
They can be on yeah, maybe one of the Crime Junkies episodes actually is tied to this.
And she's from like around where I'm at, so that's funny.
Well, that's because there's a lot of murders in Indiana.
Apparently there are.
According to that podcast, which
yes.
I'm too scared to listen to it.
That's funny.
Okay, but anyways, like, that could be her whole thing, right? Like, it's not that then she's like, well, sometimes I do this. Well, sometimes you can share that. But if you have these specific groupings of things on repeat, and you might get bored with them. I mean, this is me to a T, you guys. I get bored so easily with things. But what you have to do instead of totally changing direction. Same with like your brand colors, your brand vibe. Like, I'm laughing at myself because this is, my God. Boring makes billions. Instead of being creative by like totally changing the course, you think, how can I talk about this in 10 different ways? So you're still bringing in the McDonald's Diet Coke. Maybe it's in a reel. Maybe it's in her stories in the morning. Maybe it's part of a signature series that she runs, like the cutie little beach town. It's like, show houses with my fizzy Diet Coke or whatever. Like, you just tie it into little things, and you start thinking a lot more creatively that way when you're going deeper instead of always trying to come up with new ideas.
Yeah.
But I have to say this because we've talked about Legally Blonde several times on this show. I started watching Elle on Prime. Did you watch it yet?
No, but I've been meaning to talk to you about this.
I'm only on episode 3. I don't know how it's taken me like 4 weeks to start it. It came out like a month ago. I'm like watching this. First of all, the mom says to the daughter, who like this, if you guys watch the show Elle, she is my personality to a T. Like, I was like, this show is bringing me back to life right now. So she's nicer I feel like she's a little bit nicer than me. I'm nice, but she's like more like bubbly, warm, and fuzzy. I feel like I'm bubbly, warm, and fuzzy. I don't know what I'm talking about. The point is, the mom says to her, because this obviously Elle from Legally Blonde in the 90s loves the color pink. They moved to Seattle and she's wearing pink to school, all pink, and everyone's looking at her like, what is wrong with you? As they're all in like dark clothes. They go get their nails done and the mom's like, it was either like dusty mauve or like melancholy black or something. Like, it's all like dreary, you know, like, and here they are, these bright pink, whatever. The mom says a comment, and I'm not going to get it exactly right, but it was so close to what we say. She was like, Elle, you can never expect to succeed in a sea of gray or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to record that moment and make it real. So like, our thing, if you have not heard us before, is be the neon pink in the sea of gray. So like, I in high school wore pink every single day for an entire year. I wanted to be Elle Woods, okay? I didn't want to be a lawyer though, but I wanted to be Elle Woods. I graduated high school and 3 months later I bought a Chihuahua. Like, it's been part of my life for so long that when I'm watching this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what shaped me. This is what has shaped me. With our whole, I mean, I know we came up with the pink thing 2 years ago or whatever, but the point is, I do know my brand. So when I start to drift off because I'm feeling like, oh, this is boring, or I'm not like whatever, it's like, no, bring it back and think, how else can I talk about this? How else can I say this? Or how could I make this interesting? I will say one final thing. I've wanted to do an episode on this forever. There are so many regular civilians who are not realtors who post better content than realtors do about real estate. I have a folder with hundreds and hundreds saved of posts. When I see these, I put them in a folder. I've been wanting to do an episode. I had this whole idea for this. So if this sounds fun, please DM us and say, yes, tell me more. But basically, people who are buying and selling and moving and, you know, flipping houses, and not even just flipping houses, they're just moving, or they bought a house that fits their family, or they're sad to leave their old one, or here's how they're talking about their new one. If you would start paying attention to that, start a folder on your phone that says messaging and tie that into your ideal client specifically. Like, what is yours thinking and saying? They're not thinking like, how many houses did she just sell? Or how many listings does she have active right now? Like, they're thinking, we're looking for our forever home. And we're looking for a place that has the land where we have privacy. Like, they're thinking so differently than most agents are talking. And this really brings this whole conversation together, is that when you can get clear on the 5 things that we covered and start showing up in that way versus more of a like, oh, just get it done for me. Someone do this for me. Copy and paste stuff. This isn't my priority. I don't have time or money right now for this. Like, if you start making it a priority and you start really paying attention to the things we just said, you will in 90 days from now be so much closer to the agents getting the most business from Instagram
100%.
than anyone else who is not willing to do these things.
I totally agree.
Start paying attention to that. Make a folder, save it. I was like, I'm going to do an episode. It's like the civilians are posting better real estate content than real estate agents are. Like, it's so good. Like, it pulls at your heartstrings. It's emotional. And you don't have to be physically buying or selling to do it. You guys are living this every day with your clients. You have so many stories to tell. You have so many examples. You have so many mindset blocks you could work through, objections you could handle in your content that would make your content so freaking interesting.
Yeah.
And when you pair that with your personality, it brings everything together. It builds connection. You connect personally and you build trust professionally. And that's the magic formula for getting leads on Instagram. Okay.
Take us to church, Chelsea.
Yes.
Keep going.
Okay. That's all I have for you today. I got to go finish Elle.
So good. I love it. You guys, I hope that you pick one of these this week and you apply it in some way, shape, or form. It might feel a little odd or uncomfortable at first because you haven't gotten used to it yet, but practice it, dedicate yourself to it, whether it's talking to your ideal client, you're bringing your local life to your social life, taking just better B-roll and photos, being more intentional with that, documenting behind the scenes. And you don't have to document everything, just document a few things and do it all the time. And then just infuse your personality into your content. If you just lean on one of those and maybe like make it your commitment for the latter half of this year, that like these are the 5 things you're going to focus on, you are going to have people lined up at your door eager to work with you.
I love it so much. Okay, go start doing those 5 things. Become the one they think of first. Become the go-to. Stand out in your market. All the things, and attract ridiculously good leads from Instagram. And we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.